To think that people would come from so far away across the world to participate in this extraordinary experience and to meet the extraordinary people that are here that have had great success as individuals, but collectively, oh, I don't know anywhere else in the world that you could have this type of experience.
What that newborn foal experiences may not seem significant to us, but it will affect the foal's behavior for the rest of its life. We use a very light signal and increase it with increments until we get a response and then immediately reward. That's how lightness, the ultimate in lightness, is obtained. This is the only domestic animal whose primary survival behavior is flight. We intimidate the horse. It's not necessary. The horse is an easily dominated animal without the use of inflicting pain or fear. What is reaction time? Eye sees a stimulus. Eye tells brain something there, I don't know what it is. Brain says, better get the hell out of here. The horse doesn't stop to analyze. It's not a reasoning creature. It's highly intelligent, but it's highly reactive. Even an angry or frightened bovine, the horse can move faster. Even an old horse can move faster. And this revolution in horsemanship, basically it teaches methods that are humane and more effective. If you want the ultimate communication with a horse, it's the human fingertips, not the fist. It's one step forward for civilization in a world that so often behaves in an uncivilized manner. This is a historical movement. It's a true revolution. And it is spreading all over the world.
Driving past that, or else he's going to be the trainer and I'm going to be the pupil. You're safer, your thoughts are expressed in the horse's body, and you have this harmonious flow that's expressed in a light hand. Good. Release, good. Again. Release, good. Release, good. Now, it would be unfair for me to ask for much more than this on a baby. You can take the most dramatic horse that there is, and if they know that you're a reliable, trustworthy leader, they will follow you over the biggest obstacle or through the thickest brush. And I may even surprise a horse sometimes with my feet. But with my hands, the first ride to the end of his life, I will never violate my relationship between my hand and his mouth. I stretch his emotions, I stretch his physical capacity and his spirit, but I don't break him. So I'm gonna just shift my weight a little to the right. The bond that I have with them is stronger than steel because it's their mind. Now, why did he slow down right there? Because about 6 laps ago, that's where I stopped. It's stronger than any physical thing that we make because it's my mind and emotions linked with the horse's mind and emotions, and it's the most beautiful thing there is. Here's that concept I want you to take away. Why is that? Because we let him keep that sense of self-preservation, and then over time you just see them develop into this beautiful, amazing animal that wants to work with you and wants to be with you. Change my weight. Nice. Isn't that pretty for a baby? Someone that does something else for a living, they don't have to be even a professional trainer, can develop that bond with their horse. Then I'll get him straight, lay my left leg on him, well then we can walk off straight.
Any questions so far? Are you feeling dance-like? Are you real loose and supple? Okay.
People always ask me, so what's the difference between riding a horse that's been gently schooled over a period of time and a horse that maybe hasn't had good schooling over a period of time. And I say, well, the difference between driving a tractor and driving a Porsche.
I don't hit an end. There is no end. It's a dance.
You can't be rough on a horse and then expect him to be truly light, because there will be fear involved. If you're just making the journey and letting it all flow and feeling the whole thing between you and your horse, and then stopping when you get confused or your horse gets confused and reassessing, that's the pleasure.
It's the joy of the softness of it. I make a nice move, and my horse and I are happy. It doesn't have to be aggressive. This is easy. Get this right.
Lightness between you and your horse, not just your horse and not just you, between you and your horse is accomplished over a period of time, and that is the pleasure.
I just feel good about it. So now we've got the 2 rank.
If everything is soft and easy and pliable and flowing, it becomes a dance, and if it isn't, and it's more difficult, it's a shuffle.
Yahoo! I like it.
I can take a hold of him with this, and I can save that bridle.
I'd like to think of it as a partnership.
Let's go somewhere. Don't be afraid of speed.
It's like our dance studio, and this is our partner that we're going to teach them some movements.
Now I'm going to change his body configuration, open up that right-hand side, and ask him to pick up that lead. And he said, whew, thanks, that feels a whole lot better.
And the cool thing about horses is they are natural followers.
If I could just put any part of my horse's body in any given position at any given time, wouldn't that about solve all your trouble? See, I'm bringing these hindquarters around like this, and then, okay, I'm gonna shift my weight and just get a little, okay, there, and maybe I'll just let that go.
The relationship I have with horses is not just me being the master and them being the slave, and you have to go do what I say because I've got a stud chain on you, or I can make you do this, or I can tie you up.
All they have to do is try.
And you certainly can't outpower them. You can't work harder and be stronger to make it happen. You've got to be smarter about it. You've got to understand the psychology of horsemanship.
But sometimes stuff happens. And when stuff happens, the last thing I want to have to do is go,
Horses are the great equalizer. They don't care who you are, or who your daddy was, or how much money you have, or what kind of house you live in. You either present a good deal to them, you either speak clearly to them and get along well, or you don't.
if I want to pick him up and get more life and more energy, I can do that. I can get him soft in his face, lope off on my left lead.
And they are so willing, so amiable. What other animal in the world will do for us with the style and grace and beauty what a horse will do for us?
Oh. So again, I kept my leg off of him the whole time because I thought he was stepping.
They force us, if we're to be successful, to keep our emotions in check. You can't get mad and make progress with a horse.
All any of us are wanting, I think, is just to have broke horses, that we can just put any part of their body in any given position at any given time.
We're as firm as necessary, we're gentle as possible, we reward the slightest try, and then those horses just come through. My horses don't have any problems. I've got a few hang-ups that I got to work through, but when I come through for them, when I present things in a way that they can understand, there's a harmony there that I don't think is duplicated in any other human-animal relationship. It's a great thing.
You think about what the horse thinks about. What does he see? A lot of them ask me, when do you quit training on a horse? I don't know. When he dies, I guess. I do not spur a horse much. If I need to, I'll try to find blood. But I'm not going along and peck on him just to make him mad. The trick is to get the horse to respond to the lightest touch, almost to your thoughts. Notice that my hand makes him turn to the very slightest of pressure, and I don't move over 6 inches from the center of my body. What you do in the saddle, he feels that, and he will respond. You watch that horse watch. Good job, huh? The lighter you pull, the lighter you'll have to pull. The harder you pull, the harder you're gonna have to pull. Back, 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 back. You bond between you and your horse real well. He understands you, you understand him. That's what it's all about. Whoa. The horse, if he had his way, he'd still be out in the pasture. I haven't seen one yet that came into the saddle house, grabbed the bit and strode it on himself, and whistle for you to come out of the house, he's ready to go for a ride. If you can communicate with the horse without really stiff arming with your muscles, you're far better off. That's a heel shot. There's a lot of pride in it, in having a nice horse that works with you. It's just fun.
I just try to do as little as it possibly takes to get as much result as I can. I see a lot of horses rode in a bridle. I see very few bridle horses. Slowly, we're going to add a little bit of pressure in here. Slowly. There we go. I truly believe that a true bridle horse, you could take the bridle off and ride him and have just as much feel. I don't think horses like horse trainers anyways. They like horsemen or horsewomen. Riding my horse with my body, with a feel. You know, it's not about how hard I can jerk him to the left or how hard I can jerk him to the right or pull him to a stop or anything like that. It all comes from a feel. I want to be able to do this eventually when I'm riding him. No, I want your hindquarters. Give me your hindquarters, there you go. It's taking the time it takes to get it right. And I'm just setting up an idea. Just setting up an idea. There. So that was a start. A lot of people try to train their horse with their human tendencies. You know, and obviously a horse is a horse, a human's a human. We don't think the same. And I don't have to get real tough and rough. The harder I get with him, the worse it's going to get for me. And notice I don't have any gloves on. You know, horses are simple thinkers, but they're incredibly smart. A horse can feel a fly land on his back, and that fly's pressure. He'll twitch his hide, or he'll go clear to the top of a windy ridge to get that fly to blow off of him. That's how sensitive they are to pressure. If we can set it up and cause the right thing to be easy and focus on that, or set it up and have the wrong thing be difficult. I always suggest first, then I'm gonna ask, and that's all it took was the ask. I wanna do this for the horse. I really wanna do it for the horse, but I can't help the horse if I can't help the people. Stop right there, don't do that again, what you just did. Is that not a good picture right there? You'd be lying if you say it didn't touch you in a certain way. You know, to see that change, you make a difference in somebody's life. Just gonna wait. There we go.
The all-time secret of horsemanship, in one sentence, it would be being able to show a horse how and when and where to place his feet. If we can control our horse with the least amount of force, and this is horsemanship. You know, this is what it's all about. If I bump that horse only with the calf of my leg, when that foot is behind his tail, he'll hurry it up. And he'll make a faster step. He'll push faster. A horse can't do algebra if he can't do 5th grade arithmetic. There's a starting place, and you better be strong on the starting place. I'm gonna take hold of this right rein, and I'm gonna bump this right leg as it leaves the ground. Now, 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 now. Some people call it the basics, but we must be able to control the parts of the horse. You cannot dwell on a horse's side with your spur, and you cannot dwell on a horse's mouth with your reins. Hang on the reins. That's the worst 2 habits you can get a hold of. In other words, we must control his head and its placement. We must control his neck for lateral flexion. We must control his front feet because they're the direction finders. And we must control the back end because that's the power plant. But this is a cue for this horse. I want this. I'm going to open this leg. My leg is on his foot. I want his foot to come, and I want that foot to come slowly. That's a pretty good turn. This is a 2-year-old. And I'm going to make him do 10 of these every single time I get on him. I'm going to stop, open his leg. Your right front foot's got to come. That's it. That's it. That's it. Now, I'm getting control of this horse's front feet. You have to have an intent desire. You got to be willing to pay the price by hard work, and you have to stay after it. Just step right foot, and just stand here and step right, left. After a while, they'll just trot into this. You can do these things without pulling on your horse and without being heavy-handed. If you can control the horse's feet, you can control his mind.
Right? He knows I don't have a whip in my right-hand side. What my mentors knew about horses and the way they rode doesn't even resemble what we're doing today. Shoulder in, I'm going to go to the left. My weight is going to be on the left front, right? Now, when I change the bend, okay, where the weight is now? It's really about lightness. It's not about the hands. It's about the legs, it's about your seat, it's about your shoulder, it's about where you look, it's about what you think, it's about life in general, that we are not going to make it a heavy-duty job for neither one of us. Most of the time is not how you cue a horse, is when you cue the horse. When is really more important than how. Because we saw people taking their head off for a left lead and take their head back on for a right lead. It's all depends how many times you do that, and eventually the horse catch up with it. Training can be very different from one discipline to another, but the overall, okay, we all looking for a light way to do that. If he's closing it too much, all I gotta do is shift my weight to the outside. You don't need to see it, but he feels it. It's amazed me sometimes that really people treating their horses the way they treat their kids. Pivot on a forehand is going to give you shoulder in, because all I got to do now is go forward, and I'm in shoulder in. The timing got to be so precise to reward and to punish, because their concept of remembering why they're being rewarded or why they've been punished are so fast. Okay. He cannot reason with you. He doesn't know why you do what you do. Simple is the way you ride. If you make it complicated, you go and flunk it before you start it. We should remember that we are not really learning horse language, but we're learning a way of communication. I get people coming to my school all the time, and I say, okay, so what do you want to do? I want to change lead. Can you pick up a lead? Not really. Lightness probably be the key issue of training horses today, and I think they'd probably be a better horses. All you gotta do is swing your hip from right to left, right, left.
call it natural horsemanship or light hands or whatever. We believe that there's always been people who practice that, who had a special connection to the horse, a special sensitivity to the horse.
It's not practical for us to ask the horse to think like a human, but it's very doable for us to imagine what the horse's mind and his view of the world is and start thinking like a horse, and that's part of the light hands idea.
The horse, as you're going to find out in a few moments, has a long history on this planet going back more than 50 million years. It is a survivor in an environment filled with hungry predators.
It's the moral high ground. It's the right thing to do. So many times we don't know what the right thing is to do. We certainly know in how we handle our animals, whether we're being humane and we're giving them every opportunity. So that's one aspect. But the real kicker on this thing is that it actually works better. It's more efficient. It's a better way to communicate with your horse and get him to do the things that you want him to do.
So while ethologically all horses are the same, psychologically all horses are different. Why? Because they have different life experiences, right?
When we talk about natural horsemanship, we're talking about using what makes sense to the horse, which means establishing your leadership. And you don't do that by just being nice to the horse all the time. There's a big difference between sort of gratuitous kindness, if you will, and being just.
And I think an awful lot of times people kind of project their own wants and needs and thought processes and values, if you will, onto horses.
We've got the ability, if we wanted to, of yanking a horse's head around or kicking him in the side and making him do certain things. That's not what this is all about. This is about setting up a situation so that the horse wants to do the thing that we're asking him to do.
A horse can't be anything other than he is. He can only work within the limits of what a horse can do.
You know, when you ride a horse that is really responsive this way, every little nuance of what you do means something to that horse.
We're going to have a great weekend. You're going to remember this for all time, I promise you.
Well, if there ever was a really magical dream event for the horse industry, I would say Light Hands is it. I mean, you've got an incredible location, absolutely beautiful here, kind of an intimate setting where people can really get to know one another. You've got great vendors, fantastic food, music, weather is spectacular here. It's like everything comes together to make a really spectacular event for people who really love horses.
People are going away with an enormous amount of education.
Nobody is teaching here unless they have a special gift, a really special gift.
They couldn't watch any more talent anywhere in the world than this because the best are here. And I think it's going to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger.
When you walk through the gates, you feel the energy. It's something in the air that tells you that you're going to have a beautiful 3-4 days.
It's attracted an international audience, and I'm always blown away every year by how many people come from great distances.
This year we have 10 foreign countries represented here.
Up close and personal at Light Hands Horsemanship.
This is going to be an education that they can do.
You can't find something this diverse, I'm convinced, that's this private anywhere.
We have some patriarchs here that have such a large body of work, 50, 60 years in the horse industry, doing all different kinds of things.
It's a lot of fun for me to have people have that aha moment.
This is my favorite event of the entire year.
It's universal. It's not just here in the United States, it can go worldwide. And the farther it goes, the wider it goes, and the more education that comes from it. it's going to make the life of the horse just that much more comfortable and more livable.